Have you ever imagined living in a country with not a single political party? Welcome back to my series, The World's Weirdest Political Systems, and today's episode is Tuvalu. Tuvalu is one of the smallest countries in the world with only a population of around 11,000 people. It consists of 9 islands and it's based in the Pacific, and they don't have a single political party. So unlike most democracies in the world, you don't vote for a political party, you vote for an independent candidate. People vote for individuals based on their reputation, what they've done for their community, and what they value, rather than an actual manifesto. Tuvalu's parliament is only made up of 16 members, and once those 16 members are elected, they will then come together and decide who is best fit for Prime Minister. So when people cast their vote, they don't actually know who is going to end up being the Prime Minister. That's up to the parliament afterwards. However, they can build on their campaigns once they are elected. Because it's such a small country and everyone kind of knows everyone, politics is a lot more personal rather than ideological. Of course, they still have issues with things like healthcare, foreign policy, economics, all that kind of thing. However, they decide who is the best fit to solve the issue and they all work together. The only downside to having such a small parliament is that it can be quite unstable. If only a couple of those members of parliament decide they don't want to do something or they don't like something, it can cause a little bit of instability. One thing that actually surprises people about Tuvalu is it's actually a constitutional monarchy, so technically it is under King Charles's reign. So despite King Charles being the king of Tuvalu, he doesn't actually have that much control or power and he doesn't run the country really. The role of the king is passed down to the Governor General, and their role is mostly ceremonial because it's generally the members of parliament and the Prime Minister that make all the decisions. What's also fascinating about Tuvalu, just a little bit of extra information, is they are a really big pioneer in climate change. The leaders and parliament regularly speak on climate change, regularly go to big climate change events and are talking on a global stage. And because they are such a tiny nation of islands, they are really affected by rising sea levels. Their issues with climate change isn't the typical issues that we would have, such as rising energy bills. They actually worry about the future of their homeland and whether future generations are going to be able to grow up there. I think this just goes to show that democracy doesn't look the same everywhere, and rather than being focused on political parties that can often lead to culture wars and division, they just focus on individuals. And it works really well for them. I can't say it would work for somewhere like Britain because there's just far too many people, but it works really well for them, and it's really interesting to see a democracy be run so differently. Anyway, come back for the next episode of The World's Weirdest Political Systems.